A new video from Iran today as that country again rattles a sword in its nuclear standoff with Israel and the United States. Tehran unveiling a slew of new weapons upgrades today, including a brand new short-range ballistic missile that Tehran claims is much more accurate. This, as one of Israel's top lawmakers says, an attack on Iran's nuclear sites is now more a question of when than if. Late yesterday, I had a unique chance to speak with Danon about the growing threats. He's the #2 man in the Israeli legislature. Listen to this. Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you so much for being here on the program. We appreciate it. I want to ask you, you believe that this attack will happen, and it will happen before the American presidential election. Why do you believe that?
Good afternoon, Megyn. I cannot give you the exact details, but what I can tell you that the window of the opportunity is closing down on us here in Israel and on the Americans as well. We have to be prepared, and we have to take whatever is necessary to get rid of what's coming from Iran. And yes, we have disputes with the White House because we have seen too many talks, too many declarations, too many reunions. But what is happening today in Iran is a threat, and we know it's a matter of weeks or months until the day that it will be the point of no return. It will be too late for us and too late for the Americans as well.
But what will be the tipping point? Because we know that you have believed that Iran has a nuclear weapons program for some time. America's been urging Israel to wait, to give diplomacy a chance. Israel's been saying they do not believe it's working. So what would be the tipping point that would spark an attack imminently?
Megyn, we are waiting. We are waiting too much. We heard about sanctions. We heard about crippling sanctions. But we are talking. Ahmadinejad is coming to the UN next September, like every September. And while we are talking, he is accelerating the bomb. So we know it's a matter of time until we reach the point of no return, where it will be impossible to attack Iran when they get to the point where they enrich the uranium. I think I cannot tell you the exact date. Nobody knows whether it will be in a week time or a month's time, but we are not talking about years. That's why we are very concerned, because we think it's about time that the Western societies will wake up, not only us Israelis. It's not a threat only for Israel. We saw what happened in 9/11 with Al-Qaeda. They chose to attack not Tel Aviv, New York City. That's why we want to see some real actions coming from Washington. Unfortunately, I don't see it coming.
Walk us through what you think would happen if Israel does decide to proceed unilaterally with an attack against Iran. How would that look? How would that manifest in Iran?
First of all, we have the capability of defending ourselves. We have proved it in the past when we attacked the reactor in Iraq in 1981. We have proved it in the Six-Day War. But what we are worried about, what will be after. We expect a lot of missiles landing here in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, coming not only from Iran, coming from Lebanon, coming from the Gaza Strip. It will not be pleasant to be here in Israel during the weeks after the Israeli attack. That's why we want to see it as a global war against Iran. It shouldn't be the war of Jews against Iran. It should be a war of the Western societies against a madman who said, I will wipe out Israel, but after Israel, I want to wipe out the USA. That's why you should not wait. Maybe it's not in your backyard today, but it will be in your backyard in a few years.
I know, and that speaks in part to what is likely to happen in Israel once Iran retaliates. But I know you have some interesting thoughts on what would happen in Iran, speaking of how there would be total darkness, that Iran will fall into total darkness when Israel hits those nuclear facilities. Tell us more.
We have the technology advantage over Iran and over all of our neighboring countries. Unfortunately, we do not live in a pleasant neighborhood, but we do have the technology and we have the capability of hurting Iran capabilities. And I think we want to avoid it. But what we think that it's not helping to talk with Iran. So if that day will come, our Air Force will have to engage with the Iranians. And I can assure you that you will see the capability and the advantage of our soldiers. We hope we will not reach that point, but unfortunately, we see that the window is shutting down. And like in the past, we can rely only on ourselves, and that's why we have to rely on our forces by ourselves.
Do you foresee ballistic strikes on more than Iranian nuclear facilities? In other words, do you also see Iranian leaders being targeted?
I don't know if they will be targeted personally, but we hope that maybe something will happen after the people of Iran will understand that this leadership is leading them to a chaos, is leading them to a place where they cannot communicate, they cannot commute. Maybe they will understand it's about time that they will do what's happening today in Syria, and we will see the Iranian people taking action. It is a possibility, but in the Middle East, nobody can guarantee the outcome of any action.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Megyn.